All right, let's attend to this issue now. The Deputy Defence Minister, General Bantu Holomisa, says there's a need to reevaluate peacekeeping missions in Africa. He's also calling for a more diplomatic approach to be used instead of relying on armies for solutions. Holomisa is joining us for more. DM, good to have you and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening, Mhlekazi. Kunjani?
Ndiphilile Mhlekazi, we haven't spoken to you in a while. Maybe let's start with the news that the Human Settlements Department is going to expedite the release of housing for military veterans, something that you have been pushing for a while.
Yes, we welcome the agreement or the commitment from the Honorable Minister for Housing. There is no doubt in anybody's mind that the veterans of this country, especially those who are in the military, their conditions have been found wanting, and we welcome that.
The question, of course, that you were engaged with today is more around the wars on the African continent in your new position as the Minister of Defense. The question is, what is the root cause of these wars in Africa, and how can we approach or even escalate our defense initiatives so that they yield better results, especially in conflict-prone areas? What was your approach to this particular question?
Well, I did say to the conference that Africa's natural resources have both a blessing and a curse, failing the economic potential rather, but also driving conflicts across the continent. Therefore, it is the responsibility of every every government to understand the reasons of this conflict. 9 out of 10 times, they are as a result of outsiders in collaboration with insiders in the continent who want to exploit the resources at the expense of the population.
Yeah. How do we then enhance our early warning systems? What needs to happen in some of the key institutions, especially around conflict resolution?
Well, the AU peace formations need to be revived, especially in all the regions of the continent. Thereby, we ask them, the AU, to make sure that those people are competent. I'm talking now about soldiers who are maintaining peace in those conflict areas, and that they are fully equipped. You will recall that, for instance, in DRC, the United Nations have been there working with the SANDF and other countries. But when they made an announcement that they are going to withdraw their services end of this year, then there seems to have been panic buttons which were pressed by the Congo and other countries of the SADC. As a result, SADC said, no ways. Let's Malawi, Tanzania, and South Africa remain. So to make sure that at least the UN withdrawal will not leave a vacuum for the rebels from other areas to get into Congo. That was a decision of the SADC. But in terms of the AU's responsibility, they still need to make sure that these early warning signals, they monitor them. The easiest way to monitor them would be to have peacekeeping brigades in all the regions. But they must be fully trained, they must be fully equipped, and also the lines of communications with them and the UN and AU head office should be always open.
So you would want to see these councils having a refocus in terms of their mandate and being given a little bit more authority to act decisively. What do you mean by that?
I mean that if the AU has said in SADC you must have a peacekeeping center, right? A brigade. Yeah. All the time it must be ready whenever there is a need for them to intervene. It's not that they are going to take power from the government in the region, but at least when the call comes from AU Secretariat, they must be ready to say, yes, we are deploying. Yes, we are sending our helicopters to rescue people as a result of climate change. So we need a fully equipped, not just people who are there to carry guns only, but they must help the crisis in those regions.
Yeah. Now, as of course, a representative of South Africa in that particular department, what is your critique of South Africa's involvement in peacekeeping missions on the continent, and I suppose our political willingness, among other things, to get involved and deploy troops?
Well, you are talking to the audience of South Africa, which is, I would say, is well converted. You will recall during Madiba's time, it was Madiba who succeeded in solving partly the problem of Congo. You remember when he brought the ship, yeah, where it docked in DRC shore, and then Kabila and others were asked, guys, let's talk peace. Fast forward, Madiba went to solve the problem of Burundi. Fast forward, the other areas which Mbeki has been involved in, especially crafting the institutions to support the AU to make sure that this continent at last must be peaceful. So I'm confident that the South Africa's role in the continent hopefully will be credited at the end of the day, and especially when UN opens up for two countries in the continent for us to join, for them to join in the countries to join the UN Security Council. The role of South Africa in peacekeeping force, nobody can doubt it.
Dear, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. General Bantu Holomisa, the Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans.